Welcome to Family Peace Initiative's Curriculum Blips. In this podcast, we provide fast and easy resources for facilitators using the FPI suite of curricula to help you prepare before stepping into a group room. Whether you're brand new to BIP facilitation or using drive time to refresh yourself on familiar concepts, these blips are intended to help you get in the right frame of mind as you head into group. You'll hear from seasoned staff and FPI curricula authors on the key concepts and goals of each lesson, as well as what to expect from group members in these conversations. In this episode, we're continuing Section 8 on battering motive. Steve Halley, co-founder and co-director of the Family Peace Initiative, walks us through the second week in this section on the survival-based battering motive. Let's get right to it.
I love the motive conversation with those in our groups because it helps them to understand a little bit about, what is driving their abusive behavior, what set of beliefs, it's kind of the engine that drives their behavior. Dorothy and I, when we first started talking about this, we kind of thought that the survival-based motive made up, fairly small, maybe 30% or so, maybe 3 out of 10 of the people in our programs. But as we get better at asking questions, as we get better at understanding what we're looking for, it may be a majority of the people in our programs are survival-based. Now, many of the survival-based can have some entitlement beliefs, right? And so, they can be co-occurring entitlement and a blend of survival-based. But when we have that situation, right, the entitlement beliefs might be used to justify why my way or the highway. But people in our groups talk about, when I was dangerous, when I really became dangerous, it was when that survival-based motive was kicking in, that without my partner, I am nothing. And that's a problem for the survival-based. Now, I want you to think about this when you go into your rooms and you're exploring the survival-based. The cycle of violence fits really well with those who are survival-based. The power and control log fits really well for those who are driven by entitlement-based. But that cycle of violence, of how the tension kind of builds and builds and builds and then explodes, and then there's a honeymoon phase where we're trying to put everything back together again, and then the tension slowly builds. And it seems to be people who are survival-based really can connect with that cycle of violence. And so I would encourage you to pull that out, present that to the class, and see how many people will go, yes, that's how it worked for me. Now, not everybody will do that. Not everybody will recognize the cycle of violence as, showing up in their relationship, but many will. And it will help them to be able to identify where to intervene. Because as we get more tuned into ourselves and we can recognize when that tension building phase is growing, how maybe I'm withdrawing from my partner or becoming a little more critical or more irritable or, just not coming home as much, not just having casual, spontaneous conversation. As the tension builds, we tend to be pulling away from each other. And if we recognize that, then we can interrupt the cycle long before the explosion phase occurs. But one of the things that I like to talk about with the survival-based is the eggs in the basket. And I tell the story of Girard, Kansas on Easter Saturday when there is Easter egg hunts for all the kids down in the courthouse lawn. My 2 grandkids and my son, we took them out there when they were young. They just loved it. This one time, my granddaughter was quite young, and she kind of knew something exciting was going to happen, but she didn't really know. We told her, hey, when they blow the horn, be sure to run out there and get as many eggs as you can. And Dorothy had her by the hand and was ready to go help her find some Easter eggs. And when it was all said and done, Tyler came back with 3 eggs in her basket. And when I went, asked her if she would mind sharing an egg with me, she refused, and in kind of a desperate, panicky sort of way. I was like, no, Grandpa, you'll keep your grubby little paws out of my Easter basket, And what she was saying, even at 2 years of age, she understood that she only had a small number of eggs in her basket, and if Grandpa takes one of them, then she'll only have 2. And that's not very many. Especially when she holds it up to her sister and our son Max, who had baskets full of candy. She recognized that. And that's very similar to the survival-based. because the survival-based motive is highly dependent on their partner. And without their partner, they see themselves as nothing. That's kind of the mantra. And it's like they have no emotional eggs in their basket. They have no emotional supports. And so this absence of emotional supports elevates their danger, so that when they lose the one egg or two eggs that they have in their basket, they become desperate and panicky because they never want to go back to an empty basket again. And that's what we want to be able to teach these people who come in with a survival-based motive, is how important emotional supports can be in our lives, and not only in our own well-being, but the well-being of our partner and our kids. So emotional supports can take a lot of different looks, right? They can be our job, it can be our church, it can be our recreational activities that we do. The group itself can be a huge emotional support. And if we can hold them together for about 6 months where they can get and grow that emotional support within the group, it can go miles to create safety for victims and family members of those who are survival-based. So the other thing I want you to know going into this section is that the survival-based can really be deceptive in a way, because it looks like when the relationship stabilizes, they stabilize. And so if they get back together with their partner and they're all focused on trying to create it, repair it and get it going again, then all of a sudden they are doing well, and it feels like the risk has abated, but it's actually just paused. And I want you to know this because facilitators can fool themselves into thinking, oh my gosh, look at this great job I'm doing with this person, right? And really what's happening is that their relationship is just stabilized, and once the relationship becomes unstable again, the survival-based motive experiences of a fear of abandonment and the terror and rage of losing that egg in their basket will raise its ugly head again. And so what we're doing all the way through the program is developing more emotional supports, more connection within the group so that they have people that they can lean on in times of challenges. And so when you're presenting this, you'll be surprised at how many people kind of recognize, wow, I was entitlement-based, but holy cow, I have a lot of survival-based too. If you use the motive checklist, the people will identify their own beliefs of common jealousy, this common fear of losing their partner, their fear that their partner is going to find somebody better. And that gives you the antidote of how do you help these people to stabilize? More emotional supports in their system, getting better at recognizing and expressing their emotional experiences, and simply just being aware of the survival-based motive can do wonders in helping create safety and more of a calmness among this group of people. And so I hope you have a great conversation with them. And as you work with the survival-based throughout the whole course of the program, you really want to be focused on building connected relationships with them. You want to be thinking about being an egg in their basket, not for the rest of their lives. That's probably not realistic at all. But while they have no eggs, you being there to be an egg in their basket is significant. So good luck with that. I hope things go extremely well for you. And the next blip coming up will be the Art of War with Stephanie, and we'll talk a little bit about that coming up.
Thanks for preparing for your group with us today. If you have questions, stucks, or if there's a section of the curriculum you'd like to hear us explore in more detail, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at reception@familypeaceinitiative.com or submit a contact form on our website. Family Peace Initiative, working to serve our clients and community with compassion, integrity, and expertise.